Hi, good morning. This is Trina here to discuss about the concept of spectroscopy. So it is the third lecture of the spectroscopy and I will discuss the NMR spectroscopy. Already I have discussed two lectures on the spectroscopy. The first lecture about the basic principle and the UV visible spectroscopy, and the second lecture tells about the IR spectroscopy, and now I am going to tell about the NMR spectroscopy. So I hope that all of you already joined with the course code. Here all the study materials are given, and not only that, different types of problems solved, answers, solved problems, different types of questions are given in this code. So whenever you join with this code, you can access all this study material. And if you have any doubt regarding my lecture, so you can communicate with me either through my mobile number or through my email ID. So the course chemistry is, the subject code is CH101 for odd semester and the CH201 for even semester. This course is for undergraduate BTech students and the streams are CSE IT Civil Mechanical for even semester and Electrical EC BME for odd semester. Here the credits are 3 and the contact hours 35, and weekly I will take 3 classes. The prerequisite knowledge required to understand the concept is the 12th standard. And the course objective, so students will learn several concepts of chemistry. Here in the course outcome, so for different topics, there will be different outcomes. So our topic is spectroscopy. So the students will be able to determine the structure of different molecules using different spectroscopic technique. Here the entire lecture plan is given so that you can understand that which topics will be covered in which day, and you can take the prior preparation. And our module, that is the last module, module 5, that is spectroscopic techniques in chemistry. So for this one, I have already covered 2 lectures. Today I will go through the third lecture. So the first lecture you have learned the electromagnetic radiation. That means there are different types of radiation, ultraviolet radiation, visible radiation, and like the X-ray, gamma ray, microwave. So everything has the radiation. So infrared radiation. So all these things you have learned. You have learned that all the radiation has specific energy level, specific frequency range, and the wavelength. And also you have learned the principles of spectroscopy, that is the interaction of electromagnetic radiation with the matter and how it will react, and we get the output by the detector. Then we can understand that which functional group is present or which molecule is present in this material. And also you have learned the UV visible spectroscopy, the spectrophotometer. And you have learned the working principle, that means how it works, how it absorbs the radiation. That means it passes through the prism. First it passes through the prism, a beam of light. Then it will be like the rainbow. We get the 7 colors, you know, the Vibgyor colors. Then by the slit we can send the monochromatic radiation. This monochromatic radiation, when it will passes through a sample, so sample may absorb or may transmit it. So based on this we will get the intensity, and this, from this intensity will be compared with the reference intensity, and the graph can be plotted absorbance versus concentration of the matter. So in this way, we can get that which material is present or concentration of the material we can determine. In the second lecture, the infrared spectroscopy you have learned. So you have seen that the infrared active, IR active molecules, how we can determine. So the molecules, I have shown you the examples with the CO2. If the molecules have the dipole moment, okay, they have the different types of activities like bending, stretching. So for the CO2, I have shown you the asymmetrical activity, asymmetrical stretching. So as it has the asymmetrical stretching, so it has the dipole moment. So it is, as it has the dipole moment, that means it is IR active. It will interact with the IR radiation. So in this way, we can take the different functional group and different functional group with the dipole moment at the IR active. So it will show the different spectrum. And as we know, as we we can get the similarity with the known functional group, then we can find the functional group in the unknown sample. So for the known functional group, like say ketone, we know what will be the spectrum. So if we compare the that means the graph for the unknown sample, and if matches with the known sample, then we can say this specific functional group is present in our sample. So in this way, we can identify the material, the molecule. So today I will tell about the hydrogen nuclear magnetic resonance spectroscopy chemical shift. So from this topic, from this module, students will be able to determine the structure of organic molecules using different spectroscopic techniques. And if you like to avail the books, so you can get it from the library. So now I'm starting the NMR spectroscopy. Over the past 50 years, nuclear magnetic resonance spectroscopy, commonly referred as NMR, has become the prominent techniques for determining the structure of organic compounds. So NMR spectroscopy, NMR full form is nuclear magnetic resonance of the spectroscopy. So of all the spectroscopic method, it is the only one for which a complete analysis and interpretation of the entire spectrum is normally expected. Although larger amounts of sample are needed than for mass spectroscopy, NMR is non-destructive. And with modern instruments, good data may be obtained from sample weighing less than a milligram. To be successful in using NMR as an analytical tool, it is necessary to understand the physical principle on which the methods are based. So you know the nuclei of many elements, isotopes, have a characteristic spin 1. Some nuclei have integral spin, that is 1, 2, 3. Some have fractional spins, that is half or 3/2 or 5/2. And few have no spin, that is I is equal to 0. So here we take the carbon, oxygen and sulfur. So you know the atomic number for carbon, that is 12, for oxygen that is 16, and for sulfur that is 32. So isotopes of particular interest and use of organic chemists are hydrogen 1, carbon 13. So here you got the carbon 12, here 13, fluorine 19, phosphorus 31. All of which have I is equal to half. So spin, fractional spin, it has the fractional spin that is half. Since the analysis of this spin state is fairly straightforward, our discussion of NMR will be limited to this and other I is equal to half nuclei. So you have understood that the different isotopes have the spin, and so there are different spins. It may be half, it may be 3/2, it may be 5/2. So on this basis, we do the analysis. So the following features lead to the NMR phenomenon. So what are those phenomena? Number one, a spinning charge generates a magnetic field as shown by the animation of the right. The resulting spin magnet has a magnetic moment proportional to the spin. Number two, in the presence of an external magnetic field, two spin states exist, either plus half or minus half. The magnetic moment of the lower energy, that is plus half state, is aligned with the external, and but if it is higher energy like minus half spin state is opposed to the external field. So basically you know that the nucleus, it has the different spin. Okay, there are different spin, that means it is rotating, so it has the different types of spin. Now if we put the external magnetic field, so the basic field of the nucleus, it may either be aligned or it may not be aligned. So if it is like plus half, so the magnetic moment of the lower energy half state is aligned with the external field. But say if it is higher energy minus half spin, state is opposite to the external field. So note that arrow representing to the external field points north. Now third one is difference. It is the difference in energy between the two spin states is dependent on the external magnetic field strength and is always very small. The following diagram illustrates that the two spin states have the same energy when the external field is zero. Okay, when there is no external field, so two spin has thus equal energy, but diverge as field increases. At a field equal to Bx, a formula for the energy difference is given. Remember, I is equal to half and mu is the magnetic moment of the nucleus in the field. So here it is given that delta E is equal to mu Bx divided by I. Okay, here the I is plus half, it is showing for the plus half, it is for the minus half. And B is the external electric field. So if it is the plus half, it is aligned with the external field. If minus half, it is not aligned with the external field. Now chemical shift. So unlike infrared and UV visible spectroscopy, where the absorption peaks are uniquely located by a frequency or wavelength, the location of different NMR resonance signal is dependent on both the external magnetic field strength and the frequency. So these two are important. One is external magnetic field strength and the RF frequency. Since no two magnet will have exactly the same field, resonance frequencies will vary accordingly, and an alternative method for characterizing and specifying the location of NMR signals is needed. So this problem illustrated by 11 different compounds shown in the following diagram. Although the 11 resonance signals are distinct and well separated, an ambiguous numerical locator cannot be directly assigned to each. Okay, so no magnetic field can be similar. So now let's have the look of this picture. So it is the hydrogen NMR resonance signal for some different compounds. So here you can see the increasing magnetic field at the fixed frequency. So in this direction. So the direction, that is the increasing magnetic field at fixed frequency in this direction. And the increasing shielding by extranuclear electrons, and increasing frequency at fixed magnetic field, it is the opposite direction. So you observe that there are different molecules given and their resonance signal. So one method of solving the problem is to report the location of NMR signal in a spectrum relative to the reference signal from a standard compound added to the sample. Such a reference standard should be chemically unreactive and easily removed from the sample after the measurement. Also, it should give a single sharp NMR signal that does not interfere with the resonance normally observed for organic compounds. So as for example, tetramethyl silane. So here you can see that 4 methyl group and 1 silicon group. Usually referred to the TMS, meet all these characteristics and has become the reference compound of the choice for proton and carbon NMR. Since the separation or dispersion of NMR signals is magnetic field dependent, one additional step must be taken in order to provide an unambiguous location unit. To correct this frequency differences for their field dependence, we divide them by the spectrometer frequency 100 to 500 megahertz in the example. The resulting number would be very small since we are dividing hertz by megahertz. So it is multiplied by a million. Note that it is the resonant frequency of the reference signal, and new SAMP is the frequency of the sample. So new REF, it is for the reference sample, and new SAMP, that is for sample. This operation gives a locator number called the chemical shift, having units of parts per million, that is the ppm, and designated by the symbol delta. So here you look at this figure, then you will get the idea of the chemical shift. Next is the H-NMR spectrum of para-tert-butyl toluene. A typical example shown in the above figure. The difference in parts per million from the 0 point is referred to as the chemical shift. A typical range of this chemical shift delta is around 12 ppm for hydrogen. It is customary to have the 0 point at the right hand end of the spectrum with number increasing to the left as shown in the figure. So what are the application of the NMR? Today, NMR has become a sophisticated and powerful analytical technique that has found variety of applications in many disciplines of scientific research, medicine, and various industries. Modern NMR spectroscopy has been emphasizing the application in biomolecular system and plays an important role in structural biology. Together with X-ray crystallography, NMR spectroscopy is one of the two leading technologies for the structure determination of biomacromolecular at atomic resolution. In addition, NMR provides unique and important molecular motional and interaction profiles containing pivotal information on the protein function. The information is also critical in drug development. Some of the application of NMR spectroscopy given below. Number 1, solution structure. The only method for atomic resolution structure determination of biomolecules in aqueous solution under near physiological conditions and membrane environment. Molecular dynamics, the most powerful technique for quantifying motional properties of biomacromolecules. Protein folding. So protein folding, the most powerful tool for determining the residual structures of unfolded protein and structures of folding intermediates. Okay. So next, what are the other applications? That is the ionization state. So ionization state, the most powerful tool for determining the chemical properties of functional groups in biomacromolecules, such as the ionization state of ionizable groups at the active site of enzymes. Next, the weak intermolecular interactions, allowing weak functional interactions between macrobiomolecules. Example, those with dissociation constants in the micromolar to millimolar range to be studied, which is not possible with other technologies. Protein hydration, a power tool for the detection of interior water and its interaction with biomacromolecules. Hydrogen bonding, a unique technique for the direct detection of hydrogen bonding interaction. So you have learned lots of application. So basically in the spectroscopy, you have learned that basic principle of spectroscopy, and you have learned that the IR spectroscopy, its application, UV visible spectroscopy, its application, and today you have learned the NMR spectroscopy and its application. So for each you have to learn the basic working principle and its application. Like for NMR spectroscopy, I will give the question in the assignment already I have given that write down the working principle of NMR spectroscopy and write down the application of it. Okay, so now as your spectroscopy chapter is complete, so I have set a quiz. So I will take the test by the Quizy. So here I will share the link. By any means, I will send you this link. So whenever you get this link, you can have the quiz. So here, to show the demo, I am joining in this quiz. So there I have said only 10 questions. And when any player will be joined, then it can be started. It is very much interesting game. And when you will play in group, then you will enjoy. Yes, correct. I hope that you also will do all the MCQ correctly. Yes, this is also correct. Correct answer, 100% accuracy. So if the students doing accurate, those who have the more marks, their name will come at the top list. And if the students are losing marks, the inaccurate answer, their name will be the bottom of this list. So it is like the competition, quiz competition. So when you play in the group, you will enjoy. And after the end of this game, I will send you the report. And this report is not for only one day. You will get the report continuously that you are improving or not. And in this quiz competition, there is also prizes like first prize, second prize, and third prize. So almost I have done 9 questions already done. There is only one remaining. Yes. So now it is the end of game. So when you will play in your mobile or any other device, so you will enjoy. There are different types of features. Of no player other than me, so what to do this prize. Okay, so you will enjoy a lot. I'm sending this link, so you must play, and I will send you the report of the marks. Okay, so today I'm ending my session. If you have any doubt, you can communicate with me, and thank you everyone.